as the M50 finally came to a blunt, jarring halt. Everybody lay as still as possible. Murmurs of pain echoed around the office. Light fixtures flicked unstably, and various alarms sounded in a calamitous cacophony. All personnel report to the main bridge, a voice announced over the tannoy. My fellow wounded engineers stumbled weakly to the corridor outside our office. But we did not walk to the main bridge. We speechlessly filled the corridor, and each of us stared out of the windows which lined the walkway. Beyond the M50, there lay a near colorless hellscape. The only light stemmed from a luminous blue orb in the distance. A white dwarf, a woman said, gasping. Do they usually look like that? A man asked. The edges of the orb seemed to dance erratically, and the ocean beyond our ship was littered with tidal waves of crumbling rocks. Stray pieces clattered against the windows of the M50, and then I realized that one of the larger, distant rocks was a planet. It appeared to be cleanly split down the middle, as if it were two halves of a cracked coconut shell. This foreign place was not the Milky Way. The very laws of physics seemed to contradict our reality. We entered Harriet's eye, a man whispered. It's another universe, somebody muttered. All personnel to the main bridge, the tannoy voice repeated urgently. Snapping out of the existential fever which had seized our bodies, the engineering crew hurried through the walkways of the ship and rejoined everybody in the main bridge area. Beyond the chattering crowd, I could see Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Farrow standing sheepishly behind Captain Bolton. Quiet! The captain bellowed. The entire crew immediately complied. We tried to fixate on our bearded, stern-faced leader, but our eyes kept wandering to the swirling kaleidoscope of colors and bombardment of rocks beyond the bridge's main viewport. An unidentified force has pulled us into the anomaly, Captain Bolton said. We're working towards immediately returning home, and we do not know. Various individuals runched at Jacobs. The captain and several security officers restrained the enraged crew members. We can't change what has been done, Captain Bolton yelled, shoving the mob backwards. When we return to Earth, Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Farrow will stand trial for their crimes. Until then, we have one objective. Save every last person aboard the ship. The crew worked tirelessly over the following hours, but things only worsened. We were sitting ducks at the entrance to the anomaly, in the ever-closing seal between two universes. That became apparent as the ship's body began to wail painfully. The onslaught of rocks loudened against the metalwork and reinforced glass panes. The DM-50 began to quake on a near constant basis, and whenever I would glance out of the ship's windows, I became acutely aware of a burgeoning light in the distance. The sinister, swirling glow of 1 trillion galaxies converging, the incoming flurry of long-dead planets and moons. The universe was collapsing, and we were at the epicenter. I eventually slumped into my bunk bed at the brink of exhaustion, but I found myself unable to shut my eyes. Eager to busy myself, I switched on my terminal to run a few final diagnostics for the evening. The sooner we could give the captain the green light to go, the better. I was surprised to find a notification in my inbox. It was a day-old video message from Adam. Hey Connor, I've been bored out of my mind. I'm still upset that Dr. Jacobs wouldn't let me join the crew. So, I decided to do some research on the big man. I talked to Frank in IT because he owed me a favor, and he let me look at some of the transmissions that Jacob has been deciphering. Last I received signals from the anomaly that seemed communicative, Connor, and it was a two-way flow. Jacobs responded. He talked to something. You need to ask him about that. The thought of receiving a message from alien life, whether in our universe or another, had once filled me with such excitement. But I was filled with inexplicable dread by the idea of Jacobs communicating with some unseen intelligence. It could have been the secrecy surrounding the communication. Jacobs hadn't told anyone